I'm Dee,
I'm Bree.
and this is Debrief, the emotional intelligent conversation. And today's topic is kids are meant to be seen and not heard. So, a little bit more about me. I am first generation Guatemalan American, and culturally, in my family as well, my family dynamics, kids were meant to be seen, right? But kids did not have input. We couldn't ask questions. We couldn't make requests. Those things were all up to the adults. I'm also a mother. I have a 10 and a 12-year-old. And that's something that I struggled with as a child and decided to change, right? So I'm breaking these generational curses. Was that something that you also had to follow?
Um, yeah, I think so. Looking back, and I mean, never really thought about it.
Really?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it had been mentioned, maybe like during a session, maybe just never really
with your therapist?
yeah, therapist, yeah.
But it wasn't something like you went off to college and you discussed with other people and you were like, oh shit, this doesn't happen in their home also?
It was just never discussed like that topic. I was like, oh, like growing up, it's like I feel like we never deconstructed. We just kind of
I don't know. Oftentimes when I would share stories about my childhood or my upbringing with people who I engaged with in my everyday life, like friends when I went off to college as well, or when I was out, moved around a lot, right? Independently. Left my home at 17, so I went to a lot of places. But I would have conversations with people and I would tell them a story and I would get the face that like like, oh my god, you lived that life, oh no, and I would be like, oh fuck, not again. But we'll talk about that another episode. But I would also share how I didn't have the options. I didn't have options, and outside of my culture I would get a lot of like, your parents didn't ask what you wanted, your parents didn't get your opinion. No, oh, absolutely not. We did what they wanted without speaking.
No, I just realized maybe you're hanging out with like white people. Because all my friends are Asians.
Oh my god.
So we can't relate. Like we just kind of like.
So wait. But
like
maybe
we never talked about it, and
because you guys never really it. You didn't have the difference. You weren't able to see it. You weren't able to identify it. You didn't know the color.
Yeah.
So you couldn't say that color is blue. Oh shit.
Okay. I feel like it's just recently we started talking more openly about things. I feel like in college it was just like more about fun parties. When's the next rave? When's the next party? We never really got like
this is gonna play into
deep
the conversation.
But like I think just maybe I guess when we all graduated, I feel like that's when we kind of it shifted to what are we figuring out life? We're adulting now, what are we gonna do? Responsibilities,
Next steps. But you didn't go back and address those things that were different perspective shifts. So I engaged with people outside of my culture. You stayed within your culture. So I grew earlier on and you stuck it. You got stuck because you didn't engage with people outside of your culture. Insight?
Yeah.
I wonder what other things you missed out on. Did you also exist in this family dynamic where children don't have a voice?
I mean, looking back, I feel like yes.
I'll tell you how it looked for me. Okay. So that way you can begin. So this is a great thing, right? You don't know the color. You haven't identified it. So you don't know how it looks. So I'll tell you how it was for me. For me, it's a lot of, as a child, when you are growing up and you're told that your voice doesn't matter, it feels very devaluating, right? So you
Mhm.
learn to shut your body down. So when something bothers you, something comes up, something arises, and you have this somatic experience, like something uncomfortable happens and it makes you tense up, you have to ignore that in order to
Mhm.
continue existing in that space, in that dynamic. So you have to ignore that. It begins a disconnection from your body. It begins this series of behaviors, this pattern of behaviors where I'm going to ignore that. In order to survive this, I got to ignore it. And
Mm.
it plays on in my teen years, and it plays on in my 20s, and it plays on in my 30s. It plays on in my 40s because I'm in my 40s. Um, so it played on, right? And I ignored it in other aspects of my life as well, right? I ignored it in my marriage. I ignored it in my relationship with my mother. I ignored it in other relationships. I ignored it in friendships. I ignored it in my circles with, yes, white people. I ignored myself and I devalued my voice oftentimes. And I would learn to not trust my instinct
Mm.
and shut my instinct down. And it wasn't until my early 20s that I began to say, why the fuck am I not trusting myself anymore? I got out of a relationship that was not good in my
Mhm.
early 20s. And I started to realize, fuck, I went along with that. Why? It didn't feel good. Oh, but I didn't realize it didn't feel good until right now that I sit down and I explore it further. Now I'm thinking, yeah, that didn't fucking feel good.
Like now, as in like
In my early 20s.
in your
I
early
sat
20s.
back and I looked at my relationship when I was bawling over it. Oh, my first really long relationship, blah, 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 whatever,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, wait, I didn't I didn't like that. Why am I crying? I didn't like the individual. I didn't like our life together. I didn't like the dynamics. What the fuck? Why am I crying? And how did how did I ignore the fact that I didn't like it? I numbed myself for
Mhm.
sure in that time period. And I had to numb myself in order to ignore my bodily sensations. So it also leads to the use of substances, right? Because if I'm ignoring my body and I'm in my 20s and I'm trying to reclaim my voice and listen to
Mhm.
myself, but my environment is producing this somatic experience that's causing me distress and I'm ignoring it, so then I'm going to do something to remove that distress. Substances, right?
Mhm.
Numb myself so that I don't feel it. And I did. I spent a lot of years in that relationship numbing. And it wasn't until I got out of that relationship that I realized, and I stopped numbing, that I realized, oh, fuck, I was numbing myself because I was miserable. Distrust, devalued, voiceless.
You realize this on your own?
Yeah, I did.
Mm.
I did. Hey, I got brains, bro.
Like what led you to like think about it, like looking back?
I left this relationship in which I was using substances. And when I got out of that relationship and I stopped using substances, my mind went clear. And
Oh.
then I would engage with other individuals and they would make me not, it, I'd get the ick and I'd be like, oh, I didn't like that. And then I thought, well, that resembles what I was doing over here. Why didn't I notice it then? Oh, I was under the influence,
Oh, I see.
right? So not having a voice led me to use substances, led me to devalue the voice, led me to not speaking up, led me to not having that power. And when I left that relationship, I was like, fuck that. I have power. And I started to speak up and I started to claim my right and I started to trust myself again.
Mhm.
But I was in my early 20s. So I did wild out. You left your home, right? And it wasn't until you were older that you guys started to like have engage in like fun behaviors?
Basically 18, graduated high school, and then moved away to the Bay Area.
Moved away from the suppression, from stress.
Uh,
And how did that stress come up in your body? When you think about stress,
yeah.
how does that show up? Like, put yourself in a stressful situation. What's a stressful situation for you?
Um, I remember feeling like for sure not wanting to feel it. It's just like this. I don't want to say it's like an out of body experience, but like
That isn't
it's just
even the question I asked you. I asked you, what is a stressful situation?
um passing grade, studying for a midterm, a finals.
Studying for a midterm. Let me
Because
take
of
it
the
back. Let me take it
pressure.
back to the first episode. You know when you're like screaming at somebody when they cut you off?
Yeah.
Oh! You're like your forehead just wrinkled right now, right? So
Like
you're
I'm
like,
just like confused. What do you mean?
when somebody's cutting you off on the road.
Okay.
Okay, that's a stressful situation.
I don't find it stressful.
You don't flip them off or want to drive up beside them, remember, and
Yeah.
scream at them and be like, "What the fuck?" Remember you said that?
Yes, but I don't find it stressful. I find it like, but fuck, you know. But it's like I just like once I pass, I'm like
It doesn't upset you.
for a little bit, but
Okay,
then
so
like
stop. Sit in that fucking upset, all right? So a little bit. What happens to your body?
I guess tense up, you know, like kind of more on like on edge.
So muscles tighten, you get on edge, so probably some adrenaline. Adrenaline spikes.
Yeah.
Okay, and so does that come with heat? No heat?
With heat.
And just so you know, this isn't how we do therapy. I'm leading her right now because this bitch. Okay, so heat, where does the heat happen?
I think like moving up.
Okay, so it starts like down here
Yeah.
and it goes up your body.
Yeah.
Okay. So that happens. When you were younger, do you recall any moment in time, maybe when you let someone down? When somebody said, "I'm disappointed in you, little Bree." What was the somatic experience? Because I bet you little Bree, she was a good girl. You were, weren't you?
My grandma never
Like never said anything to you?
never like
Made you
like
feel bad?
bad. Yeah, I don't remember feeling bad.
Oh. Did
Yeah.
grandma ask you for your opinions? Did grandma let
No.
you?
No,
No.
but basically I feel like in a way I was able to get whatever I want.
So you did have opinions. You were able to say, were you able to say, "Oh, I don't want to go there"?
No, I mean, I've always wanted to go somewhere. They always take me somewhere and I always want to go. But I guess they never ask, do you want to go? They just take me,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah, they don't ask like, "Oh, we're going to this. Do you
Did
want
you
to
feel
come?"
safe growing up?
I think so.
There's a difference because I didn't. I didn't feel safe ever.
Hmm.
I wasn't safe. I grew up with dishes being thrown at the walls and uh, people screaming at each other, flailing, like waving knives around, or like being
Mm.
choked, or doors being pounded on. And so I didn't feel safe, right?
Mm.
So when somebody told me, "Hey, we're going to go somewhere," I didn't always want to go. I went. I was a good girl. I was a
Mm.
really good little girl until I wasn't. But I was a good little girl. And I'd be like, okay. So I'd go, right? But I didn't feel safe doing it. I
Mm.
didn't feel safe with those who were supposed to create safety for me.
Mm.
And those were the ones who were leading me and guiding me and taking me places. or telling me to do things, right? I did
Mhm.
several things growing up. I was told, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I'd be like, "Okay." Oftentimes, even if I didn't want to,
Yeah.
because I didn't have a voice. I felt devalued. And that carried on into my adulthood. Having a voice as an adult for you and feeling safe as a child for you, now you feel safe speaking your mind.
But I guess like they do listen because I remember like when I was little, I always like be the flower girls or like they always like put me in like clothes, dresses. I remember I was like, I don't like this. It's itchy. I don't like it.
Fuck no. I could never
And
say that.
then and then my grandma, like my uncle, I think I remember they took me in that day, in that moment, to the mall and then bought me a new clothes that is
Wow.
not itchy.
Absolutely not for me. You know, I was a tomboy as a little girl. I loved running around with my cousins and like digging into the dirt and playing. Oh, you you probably don't know these, but these little micro cars, micro wheels, micro machines. No, there's these tiny little micro cars, and we used to play like tiny little micro cars.
No.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Anyway, as I
We
was a
play with
tomboy.
rubber bands. Not rubber bands. Yeah.
Wait, tell me more about that.
Like
What's rubber
not rubber band. You know when you not when you tie your foot or tie your hair like rubber bands when you like
rubber bands?
yeah,
Yeah.
rubber. So there's this like thing that we use in Indonesia, like you just like you make it thick and then like it makes a rope. If you have a lot of it and it makes a rope and then you
Uh-huh.
can like use it as like you jump over, you jump kind of thing and you play like there's a game that like we do.
Did you use boxes too,
No.
or like?
We use there's a jump that we play. It's like if there's like with my family, like it is like how we start level one, level two, and then they put another feet level three, and then level four, and then there's like another game that like so the people will line up and then we'll like jump over who like whoever like closest like if they touch the leg.
Wow. Love that for you. So
Yeah, I usually
simple.
play like outside.
The desert, when there wasn't a lot of houses were being built around us.
Yeah.
So we would play in these barely constructed houses with like nails all over the
Oh my god.
hide and seek or crawl, or we would climb the wall. Oh my god, we did some really stupid shit. Okay. Yeah, we'd climb the walls, things like that, right? Okay, so
Damn.
very different
So
upbringing.
I grew up in a
You
safe environment,
you grew up in a safe environment. You grew up being listened to.
but I growing up, I see my family hiding secrets though because I don't know the tea.
You crave tea so much as an adult too, man. If I go like this, you're like tea, and I'm like, no, like actual herbal, not verbal.
So yeah, like
Okay,
a
so
lot of
you grew
secrets.
up not knowing information.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
what did that create? What emotions arose from?
Curiosity because I'm so cute. Like I don't know because like I
Is there
remember
distrust?
distrust. I don't because it's not related to me, I guess. It's just like family like drama, family tea. Um I remember like I would just go to sleep and in bed and then my I hear people talking thing
Mm.
like in the living room and then it used to be like I would listen and I would fall asleep to it.
See, that's interesting too, because that's different in my dynamic as well. Because the adults would just speak freely.
Mm,
We would be able to listen to the tea,
mm.
even if it wasn't age appropriate.
I mean, we do too at times, but like they usually, I feel like they try to avoid it when kids are not there. But when it happens, the kids are there. It did happen. Like I remember my cousins, like we live in the second one. The adults are talking, we're just like peeking what are they doing, kind of thing. But mostly like the one,
You had a childhood.
yeah.
I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was Oh,
No, that makes me think
your
like, oh my
childhood.
god, my childhood is not bad.
No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think I really like my childhood, like growing up in Indonesia again. Like I had people like my cousins, like we would play around, even though I lived like in a what is that called, like when grandma, uncles all live together. Like I was like taken care of.
I'm like wowed right now.
Like I remember like we are able to like play freely, just come back at a certain time. Um
In
and
Indonesia, it was safe too,
yeah,
right?
I would literally like my uncle would be like, "Hey, can you buy me some cigarettes down the street?" And then it's like, "Yeah," and then I went down and like so many times like, "Hey, can you go walk down, like, buy some cigarettes, this and that." And then like come back, you know. Yeah. Like my grandma like lived there for a while, so like everyone knows everyone kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow. It's like a storybook to me. Like a fantasy. Right. No. So that's not the way it was for me, right?
Mhm.
I couldn't say I don't want to wear this dress. Again, I was a tomboy and I was put into dresses every day. I had a different dress for every day. I hated them. I hated the dresses so much. They were always itchy and lacy and frilly and just not me.
Yeah.
And I had to wear them. I had to wear them. So I didn't have a voice. I couldn't say no. I couldn't do that. As an adult, having a voice, it makes you very matter of fact because you are.
What?
You're like, this is the way I want it, period.
I do that?
Yeah, girl.
I think it takes time. Like I think like I feel like, or maybe it was just there. It's just there, but I like never like show it. Like I guess 100%. Like 'cause I didn't want to come off as a bitch, but now it's like I don't give a fuck. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to have to change that. We're going to have to cut that out.
Okay. Why?
Because you're over here with the mic. Keep the mic over here. So, okay, I'll have to cut this out.
Okay.
Edit it out. Ready? So go down. No, just look up at me. You're going to bring the mic up so that I can cut it in
Okay.
a way. You ready?
Yeah. So I have that childhood. I guess I never really.
You know what shows up when, okay, I know we did the dating app episode, right?
Yeah.
When you would have conversations with individuals, you were very matter of fact. This is who I am. This is how I like it. Either you do it or you don't, right?
I don't know. I didn't know I come off like that.
Yes. You really, really, we've talked about this so many times that you're just like, this is it for me. It was very black or white for you. You're very black or white.
Yes, it's coming back now. Maybe you need like the term that. Just kidding, what?
So all
Yes.
or nothing. You were
Yes.
very all or nothing thinking, right? It was,
Yeah.
yeah, not me. Oftentimes, grow like after that realization, I would still question myself, and I got out of it for a little bit. It was between like my 20 or 21, I can't remember, and like 25, 26, up to about 27. I had a voice. I claimed it. I knew what I wanted. I trusted my gut. I took risks for myself. I prioritized myself. These are things that I did at that time. I ended up falling back in the pattern though.
Mm.
So the thing is that you create these patterns, and my pattern was to not have a voice. And it was very easy when I entered another relationship and I started to feel the same somatic expressions that I didn't like before, but I didn't identify it at that moment in time. I just I just sat in I just let myself feel it. And then I would also numb it. And then I started numbing again. And I fell into that pattern again. It took, I don't know, anywhere from 4 to 6 years later, I fell right back into that pattern. And I stayed in that pattern for many, many years. Self-distrust, lack of voice. It's called fawning, right? I made myself smaller. And the other problem is that by then I was also smarter. And so I used my intellect, my logic and reason to also reason myself out of feeling the things that I was feeling.
Is that good? Or is that helpful?
No, no, because I would say, I would fawn. I would say, I know better. I know how to deconstruct this. I know that what the other individual is trying to tell me isn't, they don't know better, right? So I would say, because I know better, I'm going to prioritize their emotions. So I would deprioritize my own emotions, my own experience, my own self, my own voice to prioritize somebody else, their voice, their feelings, their emotions. I know better. They don't. So I'll do it. And they won't. What happens then is that I end up taking on all of the emotional work because I created that pattern for them as well. I became an enabler. I enabled them being stuck and not growing their emotional self.
I think this was related to what we were talking earlier, how you have the cups already full and just like keep pouring and pouring.
Say more.
Because earlier,
Today?
yeah,
I wasn't privy to that conversation.
there were three of us.
No, when I use the cup analogy, I'm using it for to emphasize overwhelm, emotional overwhelm.
Okay.
Right? So the cup analogy that I use is that we have a cup, right? And we pour water into it. And so say I stub my toe. That's like an ounce, right? Say I find out that I have less money in my account than I thought I did. That's probably worth like 4 ounces. So I put 4 ounces in, and it's an 8 ounce cup. What?
Yeah. But wouldn't it be like you're dealing with your own shit and you're pouring the cup and then you're also taking on people's like responsibility and pouring it into your
Oh
cup. That's
shit.
yeah. Your
Yeah.
cup's already
Okay.
like overflowing.
My
It's like
cup's already
I'll
over.
take like it's
So
already flowing with your shit and then
yes,
you keep taking on others.
yes. So I was always in constant survival mode. So I couldn't regulate my own emotions. I would get easily dysregulated because my cuppeth poureth over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm taking on their work also.
Yeah.
Maybe at this point now I'm taking their cup and regulating their cup, emptying it out for them and pouring it into mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mm-hmm. So I spent many, many years fawning myself, making myself smaller, minimizing myself because as a child I was minimized and it became normal. My body was like, I know how to survive this. Bet I know that it's going to put you into survival mode and you don't like it, but I know how to survive it, right? It took me uh 14 years to realize it. No, I knew it along the way. And every time that I realized it, um, every time I thought, okay, I don't like this anymore. I would use chaos. I would add something to my life. Like, let me add children to the equation. It's fucking chaos, dude. Yeah. So I have 2 kids, right? Now
Yeah.
I'm distracting. Now I'm totally distracted.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's going to be another podcast because parenting with trauma is a whole other topic. But so I was using the kids for distraction as well. And yeah, then I had several cups being poured into mine. Survival mode, constant survival mode, fawning, minimizing myself, distrusting myself, not having a voice.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me 14 years along the way, but 14 years to really say, fuck this. I am not doing this anymore. I have to speak out. So I did. I spoke out. And then it took me a year of continuously bringing it back to it. And then the second year, I gave up.
Mm.
And internally, I began to mourn the relationship that I was existing in, the dynamic that I was existing in, and disconnecting at that point. It took me 3 years of intensive therapy, self reflection, looking at myself, looking at my behaviors, addressing my patterns, um, getting rid of behaviors that no longer worked for me, all of that maladaptive behaviors, all of that to finally reclaim my voice,
Mm-hmm.
to begin to trust myself again. But you at 28, even on the apps, you're like, no, that's not what I want. Delete, delete constantly over and over and over. And when you engage at work, you're very matter of fact. And now, period.
Really?
Yeah. You really haven't seen that.
How is it? No,
You
I never
haven't
thought
talked
about
about
it.
that with your therapist.
No. About what? About me, like, straight to the fact? Or what do you mean?
Yeah. You're very straight. There's no consider, and sometimes at the beginning when I first met you, you would just jump to it. Now you kind of delay and think about it a little bit, but then once you know what you want, you just claim it.
Jump to what? Oh my god, this is so new to me.
Wow, you really didn't know your color.
What do you... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. Um, but while you were sharing, I realized that your um cognitive distortion, it was like minimizing, and then like you mentioning me about black or white thinking, all or nothing thinking. I realized that I guess like growing up, either you do a certain way or you get in trouble kind of thing. Or
All or nothing thinking in
yeah,
your
yeah,
childhood,
like
your
either be a good
pattern.
child, or do your homework so you're good, kind of thing. Do you do certain this, or you do this or you get this kind of thing, this or that kind of thing.
And when you did well,
Yeah,
what happened?
I I just keep doing it.
Right. What did the adults do when you did well?
I don't know. I don't feel like I was rewarded as like good job. I don't know if they ever say good job.
You just had to do it
Yeah.
and you just did it. So you were a
Yeah.
good girl.
Yeah.
But you did have all or nothing thinking growing up. And now you have all or nothing thinking
Yeah.
too. And sometimes it's hard to get you out of it. You're like, what do you mean? Just like you do right now.
Wait, like all of my, what do you mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by a matter of fact thing.
It's all or nothing thinking,
Okay.
right? If you don't like something, you don't stop and consider it and say, well, maybe I could like it if this or this, or maybe I could learn to like. You just go, no, don't like it.
But I feel like I'm not like that anymore. I'm
No, I
still like
said at the
open. Oh, at
beginning.
the
At the
beginning.
beginning, you were
Okay,
so
okay.
rigid. It was
Really?
showed up as rigidity. Yeah, you were so rigid. Yeah. It comes off as standoffish and confrontational and
Interesting.
passive aggressive sometimes. Yeah. Now, after therapy, after being a therapist for a little while, now you stop and reflect a
Yeah, of
lot more,
course.
right?
Yeah.
So it's not as pronounced, but sometimes you fall back on it. Like when you're having conversations with people who you don't feel 100% safe with yet.
Okay.
Oh, I love the eye roll because you know I'm fucking right.
Because I know who you're talking about.
Not only him though. I mean, people who you don't feel safe with in general, you become super rigid
Mm.
because you don't have that safety net of, can I give them time so that I can reflect on it? Can I give them my soft side? You won't even consider your soft side. You're just like, no, no.
Okay.
So you do have a pattern from your childhood.
Yeah.
What other patterns?
I mean, that's all I can think of. Like the black and white. Um,
Mm. I have learned to reclaim my voice. I also did it. So in that 5-year period, also, I started to do activist work, and I had to reclaim my voice in order to do that work. But I also existed with a model of a person who didn't have the same issue. So my partner was white, right? All the white privilege that you can get was, they had it, they owned it. So when we would engage with others, there was times when I was doing activist work when I would say something and the group that I would say it to was predominantly white. They would minimize what I said and ignore it. And then he would say the same thing that I said, the same fucking thing verbatim. And everybody would be like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. Let's do that. For real. And they would try to say, oh, somebody else should do it. And then he would say, but it was her idea. She should do it. And they'd be like, oh, okay. So at that point, I said, oh, hell no. Let me start reclaiming my voice again. Let me be heard again.
How'd you do that?
I just fucking did it. I realized it at that point in time that I was minimizing myself, not in my relationship quite yet. It took a little bit more time, but I was minimizing myself in all spaces, and that I was in survival mode too. So I just began to say, no, fuck that. And I started reclaiming everything. Started to listen to my gut. I started to gain more self awareness of my somatic experience. Yeah. Also, you're not very connected to your somatic body.
No, I'm not.
So you wouldn't be able to identify it. What disconnected you from your somatic body?
I don't know.
Oh, now I want to explore. Now I'm curious. Like, where along the line did you need to survive that disconnection? What happened at what time in your life did you have to stop listening to it in order to continue to
I don't
stay
know.
afloat? When did you experience pain? Pain in the heart, internal pain. because that's when it happens.
3 maybe when my mom left, I guess. I don't know. It affected me. Even
Abandonment.
though it wasn't like, you're a child, like you don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah.
There were pictures of me hugging her at the airport, and I don't remember it.
There's also that. Well, you were 3, right? You
Yeah,
were 3, so valid. You start forming memories between some as early as 4, but around 5, 4 through 6, you start retaining information. But there are people out there who remember 3
I
and
know.
2 even.
It's
However,
crazy.
however, to be able to survive something like abandonment from a parental figure, you'd have to disconnect. And that could also show up as dissociative behaviors, dissociating from memory.
That makes so much sense because there are some memories that I don't remember when I was a child.
Yeah, because you had to survive not having this, your safety person, your connection, your model, your everything, right? So you have to dissociate. I also did dissociate growing up in a violent home. In order to survive that, I had to separate myself from the idea of safety. I had to shut down memories that disprove the fact that I was safe. I wasn't safe, but I had to tell myself it's okay, this is normal. I am safe,
Mm,
even though I wasn't. I also distorted the idea of safe, which played into my relationships,
mm,
which played into my risk taking, because I did
mm.
a lot of risk taking between 17 and
Now,
not offended by that. I don't take a lot of risks. They're calculated now.
true.
They're very calculated risks now. I think these things through, but they were uncalculated between 17. I left my house when I was 17
Yeah.
to about 26, 27. So, yeah, about when I started to distrust myself again. Lots of risky behavior. Disconnected from self, dissociating. My sense of security was distorted. Safety
Mm,
was distorted. I didn't even think about safety. I just did. I was going to be safe no matter what because, hey, I survived some wicked shit
yeah.
and I made it through. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't think we had explored that with you yet. And thank you for showing me what a beautiful childhood could be. At 6, I was watching over. No, was it 6? 7. 7, I was watching over my younger brother, and at 8, I was watching over my younger brother and my nephew. I was a child, I was a baby watching over other babies.
Yeah.
So began my parentification started earlier than that. But yeah, I was parentified for sure.
Is it still I mean, I would say, yeah, I guess it is a good childhood, but how could I
Oh,
not remember that?
yeah. It was a painful childhood. You did have a childhood, but it was painful.
But I had
And it was
fun.
not but, and it was painful. Yeah,
Like, I had fun. Like, I remember
you
thinking
did.
back, like, doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, I didn't remember how I feel in my body when it was, like,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. You didn't
I
feel in your body when it
dissociated.
was good or when it was bad.
Yeah.
So you missed out on things too.
That's why I'm such a brat.
Let's explore that. Is that why you're such a brat?
I didn't get to brat out.
I don't know. I think it comes back to the
Safety.
rigidity. No,
Okay.
Safety, of course, plays into it. If you're not safe, you're going to become, yes, I just said earlier, right? You said when you're not safe, you get rigid. You go into all or nothing thinking. Yes. So when your trigger is when you're not feeling safe, you jump to rigidity and all or nothing thinking.
Okay.
When I didn't feel safe before, I would fawn, I would minimize, I would distrust, I would disconnect.
Mm.
Not anymore. Not anymore. When I don't feel safe now, I punch it in the throat. but I name it. I name it. I call it out. I
Yeah.
communicate. I'm direct. I'm assertive all the time. I am direct and assertive all the time. I claim my voice now by being assertive, by being direct.
I feel like I'm learning to do that.
Yeah. You were doing it in a healthier way instead of doing it in a rigid way, right? And shutting things down. You weigh it and you say, is this healthy for me? Is this not healthy for me? Is it helpful? Is it not helpful? And then you make your decision. Unless you're not feeling safe. And then you're triggered into rigidity again.
Mm. So interesting.
Human behavior. Fucking love it. I made a career out of it.
Same.